This was the same APC that screened and passed a 15-year-old for the position of House of Rep. This 15-year-old got endorsement with all the high-up people in the APC. If not for People's Gazette that saved Nigeria from the embarrassment, only but ask questions. So even with the NDC this morning that claimed that they have over 10 million, we need to forensically verify that. So my scathing criticism is across every political party this morning. They should not come and bamboozle us with numbers. Welcome to the show. The headlines this morning. The National Chairman of All Progressive Congress, APC person, Ntawe Yewata, has said that the ruling party remains Nigeria's most stable political party, citing its membership strength, governing structure, and internal organization. Speaking on Arise Primetime last night, Yewata said APC currently has 12.9 million registered members submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission, insisting that the figure exceeds the combined membership of all other political parties in the country.
This is what we have.
Right.
We have about 12.9 million registered voters.
Right.
That we submitted to INEC. Let me give you data. Let me give you data for you. AP submitted 12.9 million registered voters. PDP submitted 2.4 million registered voters. The ADC submitted 1.6 million registered voters. Labour Party submitted 1.3 million registered voters. ND submitted 700,000 registered members. So these are data. If you put all these political parties together, they don't add up to APC's registered members. All the political parties that this number I've counted, they're not up to the number that APC registered.
Well, elsewhere on the political divide, Atiku Abubakar, Chibuike Amechi, and Mohammed Hayatu Dean yesterday commenced their battle for the African Democratic Congress presidential ticket across the federation. Results from the primary election trickling in from different parts of the country showed that each aspirant is leading in their respective strongholds. The ADC presidential primary election took place in 8,809 wards across Nigeria. Atiku, who cast his vote in Jimeta area of Adamawa State, applauded the conduct of the primary election.
The Minister of Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has ascribed the withdrawal of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara from the All Progressive Congress APC governorship race to an agreement with factions opposed to him to shelve his impeachment on the condition that he will not seek re-election in 2027. Wike spoke yesterday in Abuja during the inspection tour of project lined up for the third anniversary of President Bola Tinubu's administration. He insisted that he was not surprised that Fubara's withdrawal from the primaries, accusing his political protege of betrayal and lacking principle by obtaining a nomination form in the first instance.
All right, now to INEC, where the Independent National Electoral Commission has asked the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal to reverse the judgment of a federal high court, Abuja, which nullified part of its guidelines for the conduct of the 2027 general elections. INEC also filed a motion praying the appellate court for an order staying the execution and or further execution of the judgment of the trial court, pending the hearing and determination of its appeal.
Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye on Monday appointed Amadou Al-Aminu Lo as the African nation's new prime minister. Lo is replacing Ousmane Sonko, who was sacked on Friday after months of simmering tensions between him and the president. The sacking led to the resignation of all members of government and its dissolution. Lo, who will now have to form a new government, previously served as the head of the Senegalese branch of the Central Bank of Western African States. He also serves as state minister to the president and secretary general of Sonko's government. Right, then by some quick insights, you want to go right at it?
Okay, let's go straight with it. Several issues this morning. Let's begin with the debate that unfolded following the release of the presidential results for the APC primaries on Sunday night, and it has created a bigger conversation. The conversation, of course, had the national chairman of the APC as a contributor last night, who was hosted by Charles Anyagolu on Primetime, and he was making a case for the APC's number and also argues that it's a bigger total, sum total of all the other opposition parties combined. Well, if you look at the numbers, it is correct, but what's in a number? I know that there is currently a special report, if you check Arise's YouTube page, that documents the journey of the APC's membership numbers over the years and how they've fluctuated. But I want to single out the instance of this particular 2020 2025-2026 road to APC's membership drive, because you'll recall that they launched their e-registration exercise last year, which was rolled out across the nation. Now, if you'll recall, one of the major issues that emerged from that were accusations of civil servants being coerced, and there were accusations that some people were even being were threatened with possibly losing their jobs or having their salaries withheld if they didn't join the APC through the e-registration drive. Now, some of the other controversies around it, if you look at the ongoing case that seems to have gone quiet, but we've still keep it in view, is the case of an allegation of FAC allocations being shared to the Renewed Hope ambassadors for mobilization for electoral processes. Primaries would include that. And of course, when we talk primaries, we talk about voter registration. Then there's some allegations that also go towards the City Boy movement and the mobilization that they're doing to engage people to become members of the APC. Now, when you put all of this into context, you can put it under the umbrella of what we've come to call the power of incumbency here in Nigeria, that when you're on the seat of power, there are several tools available to you to be able to engage the electorate, whether it be done in a coercive way or whether people do so willfully because you're in power. Because there are some people who willingly go towards the ruling party simply because of the proximity to power. But this is not alien to Nigeria. I looked at the case of Jeremy Corbyn in the Labour Party 2015 to 2017, when there were the huge allegations, huge controversy. And there were huge controversies of people joining the membership register of the Labour Party prior to a primary election to try and swing the conversation in a certain way within the party. If you look at examples even across Africa, South Africa and so forth, it's called entryism. Even in the United States, there are now allegations of entryism. It has gotten to the point in the United States where the debate is now saying that party primaries should be open to independents, people who are not members of either the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, because they are saying ultimately independents should be allowed to come and participate in the primary election of any party. So this is a global conversation around what constitute membership figures, especially in the run-up to a primary election, when a party is trying to make a certain statement or a certain declaration in favor of one party or another. Now, what are some of the solutions around this? Well, it seems to be a very tricky issue, because we know that political parties are private institutions that have public outcomes or public consequences. We know that based on Section 77 of the Electoral Act 2026 as amended, yes, the Electoral Act does prescribe the format that a digital membership register should take, but it doesn't go as far as saying that anybody regulates it. It's an internal party process. But the question is, do people really want INEC or any other organization to start regulating and vetting and auditing internal party registers? Well, the argument for it says that if we keep seeing these numbers that people feel are not realistic or don't reflect what's happening on the ground, then you create voter apathy when it comes to the main election, because people feel that maybe there's no credibility. On the other hand, who is available? What institution are we giving the duty of auditing and ensuring that when a party does say that all of their members are verified by NIN and through NIMC, as the national chairman of the APC has said, then surely that's an internal party issue, and we leave it to the election and ensure that the framework of the actual election itself is governed by free and fair statutes and regulations.
Bimbai, you made a very salient point as regards the numbers. This was the same APC that said they had 41 million members at a point. How did 41 million plummet to about 12 point something? I thought that a register, you should be able to build on the register of members. Bimbai, let me even make your point for you. This was the same APC that screened and passed a 15-year-old for the position of House of Rep. This 15-year-old got endorsement with all the high-up people in the APC. If not for People's Gazette that saved Nigeria from the embarrassment, by revealing that investigative journalism job. And kudos to Samuel and the likes in People's Gazette, Samuel Ogudikpe, that revealed that investigative journalism. A 15-year-old will have easily swapped through the APC system of screening and go ahead and investigate. The question we should ask them is, didn't they ask him to bring his national ID card and all of those things in the first place? What did he submit? Did they verify? So that 15-year-old's case has shown that their verification process is not. And that's why when they tell me they've got 12.9 million people, I say they should bring the numbers out, let's verify. Let's subject it to forensic verification of the 12.9 million people. So when people bandy numbers around, it's Nigeria now. Is it not? Didn't you see the counting in Bende? Somebody just sent me a video counting in Bende and some other areas. 1, 15, 20, Abi Dr. Abati, 100, 200, 1,000. 1,000, 2,000, 1,112.
Well, the national government said some of those were jokes.
No, but these are live videos now. So the one that you saw, the deputy senate president sitting in front, is a joke, Abi, and we saw the county president going on. It's a joke. What do you expect my brother and the entire way to say? He's my brother and my very dear friend, but I will also say it the way it is. What do you expect him to say? So, I mean, these are things back and forth and all of that. And when you look at these issues, then definitely you can only but ask questions. So, even with the NDC this morning that claimed that they have over 10 million, we need to forensically verify that. Where is the 12 million? What did they have? How did they come about that 10 million that the NDC have? That all of a sudden they say Nigerian jump up to 12 million. So my scathing criticism is across every political party this morning. They should not come and bamboozle us with numbers. It was in the same country we used to get high numbers before. All of a sudden we are getting different numbers. The second case will be the case of going to court. The case of going to court by INEC. Yes, INEC was in their right. But the question you also ask is that the judgment was declarative enough. And he stated it. So if INEC is going to court, the question we'd like to ask INEC is, does it tamper with anything that has, that the court has declared? Does it tamper with it? The question we should also ask ourselves is, we should now ask further that these guidelines that INEC want to go and make justiciable in courts, was it not the same guidelines that they all told us was not justiciable in the last elections? When we had the mode of operation on which the beavers was used, that was challenged because they told us that INEC guidelines are not backed by law. Am I missing something? So what is this interest that INEC has so much? What is this interest that INEC has so much? So we should now scrutinize. Are there any players in the scheme of things? This sweeping criticism also should go to the ADC. They have already started counting. We are seeing 60-something thousand. How did they get 60-something thousand in Sokoto? Because we're already seeing videos also coming out from them. Because all of them that say they want to save Nigeria, we should be able to ask them basic accountability questions. How did they get 60-something thousand in Sokoto? As regards the last topic I would like to talk about is Basiru Diomaye. Yes, we've seen the fight has started. Both parts, there's friction, of course, both parts and all of that. They've brought in a new prime minister. We're going to take more stories on that from Senegal. But let me now switch the thought process. What if this was a ploy by two of them to consolidate power? This is my argument. About a week or two ago, the same law that cancelled Basiru Diomaye, that cancelled Sonko from running for president, the defamation something, was nullified by the House, the Assembly Nationale. As it is today, Sonko is cleared to run. The next part of the analysis, all of a sudden, Sonko makes this sweeping run and he wants to find his way into the parliament and be the head of parliament. By the Senegalese constitution, if anything happens to the president, it is the head of the Assembly Nationale that takes over and he must hold the election within 3 months. So could it be a case where they hatch it all properly? At the tail end of the administration, Faye says, oh, I want to leave. Sonko is the one to hold the elections and he prevails over it. I'm just trying to think through the dynamics. I don't know. I might be thinking amiss.
Very optimistic of you. You don't want to believe that they're fighting, right?
I don't know. This is just another part of the thinking process. I yield the floor.
Okay, very quickly. I might as well start with Senegal. Now, today, the parliament in Senegal, a body of about 365 deputies, with the PASTEF holding an absolute majority of over 160 members, will take a decision to admit Ousmane Sonko back to parliament. He having been originally elected into that parliament before he was chosen as prime minister. The second major duty in that assembly, in that parliament, will be to appoint a new president of the Senate. The former Speaker of Parliament, Ndiaye, having decided to step down, vacate his seat for his ally, Ousmane Sonko. The subject, of course, is that in Senegal, now President Faye has appointed Amadou Lo, a senior economist, former staff of the Central Bank of West African States, as the new prime minister. But his appointment will have to be ratified, endorsed by Parliament within the next three months. And that is going to create a problem, because you will now have Sonko sitting down there as, head of the parliament. And this disagreement is about economics, basically, beyond the competition for power. 132% of GDP is the money that Senegal is owing, and in specific terms, $1.8 billion being owed the IMF. Now, on one side, Sonko is talking about economic sovereignty. Faye is saying, well, let us take this loan. So in that regard, there is ideological difference. What we have to worry about is the future, as I said yesterday, of Senegal, because a time may well come when Sonko will run as president, and Faye too will be running as president, and you have former allies, running for the same ticket, and then the situation in Senegal will become even more problematic, particularly now that the opposition is calling this an institutional coup, and the opposition is on the side of the president and insisting that the matter should be resolved by the Constitutional Court of Senegal. Quickly, INEC had already served notice that it was going to appeal the ruling of the judgment of Justice Mohamed Omar with regard to the matter taken to the court by the Youth Party versus INEC, the case is called. And the judgment by Justice Umar, Federal High Court Abuja, simply said that the INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria, acted ultra vires. In other words, that Section 29, Sub 1, Section 31, Section 32, Section 91 of that Electoral Act, giving power to INEC to come up with deadlines with regard to party membership, was against the spirit of the Constitution. And the effect of the ruling by that court is that political parties can continue to register members until September 26 this year. The effect of that, therefore, is that, members of political parties can still move from one party to the other, and, also not have their primaries until that deadline that the court has now identified. Now, it's within the rights of INEC to go on appeal. Having gone on appeal, they also ask for a stay of execution. So, INEC cannot be accused of contempt by the court. But the court now has not fixed a date, has not treated the matter. Their lordships will go on recess, I think, in July. So this is a matter that is urgent that they will have to deal with. Even if they go on recess in July, the president of the Court of Appeal can create a special panel, can empanel, a set of judges to hear the matter expeditiously, considering how important it is to the electoral process that is already at play. Now, for numbers, I thought I had something about whether or not INEC can look at a party register. No, it is actually the business of INEC to oversee party register to this extent. One, the law stipulates that membership register digital that INEC, that the law says should be submitted 21 days before primaries are held. It is also the statutory duty of INEC to ensure that those registers are scrutinized and that the data provided therein is correct, and also that the candidates that will be presented eventually, of course, to INEC are eligible candidates. So INEC, as a regulator, has that oversight role. Now, what the parties are doing, inflating figures, saying we have more members than other members, well, all that is just politics. If INEC, carries out its institutional oversight, all of those issues should not have arisen in the first place. So, if APC says it has 12.9 members, what do you expect? And in any case, it is the ruling party. Other figures that will be quoted by other parties, it is the duty of INEC to make sure that there is no inflation and that the register for the election is correct, because that is when you can have a credible. Finally, for ADC, what we're hearing is that people are, piggybacking on ethnic leverage, which is a major concern ahead of 2027, that there will be a very deep ethnicization, people voting along ethnic and religious lines in that 2027. And that's why I argue that the old order has not disappeared, and that the Electoral Act 2026 is also showing us that the road ahead is still very far.
Just a quick add-on. Somebody sent me that the Mende figures, there was an APC official that said it's not true, that it's a feed, it's just mischief makers and all of that. Yeah. That's the answer of the story. One chief OKC, that's just it. Yeah.
I suppose which echoes what the national chairman said yesterday. Well, we'll continue to investigate.